All right. Let's see if we watch the clock tick here. Go on along. 15 seconds till 8 o'clock. And of course, we're still going to wait. So, all right. Waiting. Let's see. That's 30 seconds. No, I'm not live in 6 minutes, Utah. YouTube. I'm live now. There we go. Okay. All right. Happy Tuesday night, guys. Let's see if I can get myself a little more centered. That's better. All right. Let's see if y'all can see me. Oh, great. There we go. Okay. Here we go. There's Ed, Prep Rebel, Fastball, New York Budget Prepper, Pennsylvania Mama Bear, Salt Mist Cottage, Finley, Healthy Disrespect, Leona, David, Cat Lady, and now we start getting crazy. All right. Happy Tuesday night, guys. Hope you had a good day, staying cool. It's back up in the 90s here for a few days. I saw a couple of you guys saying it was 100-degree heat index up north. I guess there were some big storms that went through, stuff like that. So hopefully you guys are all dealing with it as be. You can always send some of the rain down here. We could really use it. It's starting to get pretty dry out here, but fall is rolling in. You just wouldn't know by the temperatures. It's funny, last week it was, 70 degrees, 75, and you're like, hey, cool, okay, fall's coming, 95 now. So, all right. Only big news I saw today was Jack Smith got Trump indicted 4 more times in Washington, D.C. Ain't going nowhere. So, just, waste of time, lawfare. It's like, hey, Jack, I hate to tell you this. You ain't going to be practicing law again come January because you're going to have a presidential order to revoke your law license and you're going to be the defendant. So just get ready for that. I hope you've got plane tickets to go to Switzerland or some non extradition country because your time is numbered here. Because if Trump doesn't come after you, we the people are. Just saying, once we get rid of some of these liberal attorneys, liberal prosecutors, liberal judges, and get our country back, we're going to start cleaning house from the cancer that is liberalism in this country. Just fair warning to you. But that was about it. Yeah, not a whole lot of excitement. The big thing around here, we went and checked this out this evening. Foraging, things like that, stuff to find food. And I know I've mentioned the Picture This app on your phone, which is a very helpful app for preppers. And yeah, you don't have to pay for it, even though they try to get you to pay for it. If you just hit the little X in the corner, you can use it for free. Mr. and Mrs. Mountaintop Preps found some berries the other day. So they looked them up and everything like that, said they were good. So Mrs. P and I went down and checked it out today, and there's a good amount of berries. I'll probably go pick some this week and see what I could do there. Japanese silver berries. Never heard of them, but they are edible. I tasted one. It's a very tart berry, but I guess it is good for making jams and jellies and wine. They're little berries. They're about the size of ball bearings or something like that. But I was like, okay, there's a potential food source that is growing wild near me. So it pays to pay attention to your surroundings because I wouldn't know, but they're edible. And like I said, they're tart, but make for a decent dry wine too. So we'll see. So, or jelly. So I'm gonna go get some and see what I can make out of it. See what happens there. But that was pretty much the excitement around here. So let's get into some long Q&A tonight. Not a whole lot for me to monologue about. So let's get into this. As per normal, if you've got questions for me, please put them in all caps, just like every other YouTube channel. It just makes it easier for me to find it. And the only rule we have around here is keep it clean, keep it friendly, keep it nice. Disagreement is fine. Just don't be rude about it. Okay. And again, thank you to the mods for keeping the riffraff out of here. All right. Let us get to, all right, there's all the 5x5s. Questions. Dawn Hills has had tornadoes up in Michigan. That ain't fun. Yeah, I saw a couple of you guys talking about trees down and stuff. So, Vicky Savage, when will I start the fall planting? Now, again, this is not tried and true for everybody. We've got to all remember that it's different climates, different places. Those of you guys that live up north, your fall planting should already be in. Mine will go in about 2 weeks. I've got cabbages and beets that I started from seed. Those are all sprouted. They're sitting out back on the picnic table. You know, they're about yay high right now, but I want them to at least get a set of true leaves on them before they're even ready to plant. Right now, they just got their goblin leaves on them, and that's it. So want the plants to get a little bit bigger, because otherwise you try to plant scrawny little seedlings, they're just going to die. They won't handle it. You need to have that good root ball built up in your cups or whatever for them to go. So, you know, like on my cabbage, I want to see at least 3 sets of true leaves on it, and I should have those by mid-September. For me, that's fine, because, you know, if cabbage takes another 2 months, because I think cabbage I've got is like about a 65-day cabbage, you know, that still means I'm out around Thanksgiving, I'm harvesting those cabbage, and it can still be, depending on the temperatures, I mean, it'll still be above freezing, even though cabbage can go down to about 26 degrees. For me, you know, it's not like when you guys are up north where you could feasibly have snow on Thanksgiving. I mean, hell, I was in Boston, 10, 12 years ago, we had ice storm on Halloween. So, yeah, you know, fall planting is always kind of iffy. You know, it's not as consistent as spring planting. You know, it's getting warmer. You just don't know when the cold is going to get. But my fall planting will all be put in the ground around mid-September. But my seedlings are long since started. Those have been in for 2 weeks already. An Eagle Montoya, in my opinion, what's the most clutch bowling shot I've ever made? Clutch? I've made a 210 split before. I had an interesting one where I had a it was a 610. This was last season. And I put it right in between the 2 pins. I mean, the ball just curved right in between it. I mean, you figure there's not barely enough space for the ball to get through. Somehow I managed to do it. And it was kind of funny. And so last night when we were bowling, one of the guys on my team got the 610. And what did he do? He put it right in between the 2 pins. Go figure. Yeah, I mean, I've seen that happen twice in my life, and both of them have been here on my bowling team. So that was it. Yeah, bowling last night was all over the place. I had a 137, a 185, and a 120. So yeah, first game's back. Wouldn't say I was Mr. Consistency. So, but that was it. But it was still fun to see the guys again. So, Linda Friesen, it's like they're trying to play pin the tail on the donkey with Trump. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, I don't care what the polls say. Kamala Harris is getting her ass stomped right now. There is no way in the world you can tell me that she's leading in polls. I mean, sure, she's leading in Vermont or in California or something like that, you know, where the majority of the population is too stupid to come in out of the rain. But even in the swing states, you can't tell me she's leading. I don't care. I mean, it was like I said today, what do we have today? Well, gee, you know, now after we've stolen all these ideas, now we're gonna build the border wall. Oh, why? Because you looked at polling somewhere and the majority of the people want to keep the illegals out. I hate to tell you, dumbass, you had all the material in your administration that you're currently in. I mean, I get a kick out of they're trying to run against Trump as though he's the incumbent, like he's in office right now. Like Kamala Harris isn't the vice president. And, you know, it's like they're trying to run against their own policies, and she's trying to distance herself from Biden like I didn't have anything to do with that. Hate to tell you, honey, okay, you're on the hook for every one of them. You've been the border czar for almost 4 years. Don't tell me now your brilliant idea is to build a border wall when you had all the material already bought, paid for, and delivered, just needed to be installed, and you sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. Okay. Don't tell me that you want to do this again. I mean, it's like I said this morning, lying out her posterior here is just ridiculous. It's all the promises they will make up until the first Monday of November and nothing that they will deliver starting the first Wednesday of November. Just the way it is. Off-grid living. I picked my first strawberry this evening. Woohoo. Okay, I'm guessing you've got ever-bearing strawberries because it ain't June. And I'm also probably guessing that you've got new strawberry plants that you put in this year. So just let them keep going. Get them in the ground. I mean, if you got them in a pot or whatever it is, I mean, I've never really seen that be very successful. At least put them in the ground over the winter and let those runners start so they can multiply. And I mean, if you want to dig some of them up and put them back in your terracotta pot in the fall, that's great. But put some of them in the ground so they can grow runners and give you boatloads more strawberry plants because they get expensive in the store. Whoops. Shot to the bottom. Let's get back up here. Yeah, I got a kick out if there was somebody on YouTube who decided to go over, was it Saturday night's live stream, and came up with made a video of me for like 3 minutes of all the ums that I said as I'm trying to find stuff in here. And of course, it was a copyright violation. It's the very first video the guy ever put up. The very first video he got was all of me. The very first video he ever put up, he got a strike on. Sorry, I take copyright issues seriously. So if you're here, yes, that was me who put that request in. Where are we? There we go. Demery Hoover. Good evening. What is the bug killer you put on your lawn? I know you mentioned it before. We actually put it down about a week ago. It's called Eliminator, and I just ordered it from Amazon. When I put 8 bags out in my yard or whatever it was quite a bit, but I got 3 acres. So, but the idea is to kill the fleas, kill the ticks, kill the grubs, that are in the lawn. It doesn't affect the beneficial insects because they're not crawling around on the lawn, but the ones that get into the soil, the ants or whatever, fleas and ticks and stuff, the grubs, especially with the Japanese beetles and the June bugs I had this year. Yeah, I want to make sure those are gone. So yeah, but that's worked very well for me. I know it says on the bag it's only good for 6 months. I found here, if I put it on the lawn every other year, I'm okay. I didn't put it on last fall. This would have been the 3rd year and I had the problem, but 2 years, it seems to be good. This is a good question. Mikhail 539, please discuss how multiple catastrophic volcanic explosions in Italy can impact our gardening in the USA. All right, so think about this because, we haven't, the last volcano that we had erupt in the United States, at least the continental United States, was Mount St. Helens back in 1980, okay? There are probably people here watching the video who aren't even old enough to remember it. But you get these ash clouds that go miles into the sky, and that stuff all starts getting into the jet stream and circulating around the country or around the world. And it can affect your sunlight. It can affect the weather patterns, that, all of a sudden you're not getting rain or you're getting more rain. And then, you also don't know, because again, every volcano is going to be different. What are the elements, the minerals, whatever that's in those eruptions, that's in that ash cloud? And, could it be, I don't know, pick something, the sulfur gases? Could it be the aluminums? Anything that the Earth's core is made from, or anything there, that's what's getting blown into the sky. And it's not like it just goes straight up and comes down. It gets dissipated around the world. So yeah, I mean, if you talk about catastrophic volcanoes, yeah, we could get affected, even though everything's got to go all through Europe, all through Asia, all across the Pacific before it comes back to us. Yeah, we could still see it if you get, oh, I don't know. I mean, something, I can't tell you by the size, a Pompeii or something. But I mean, again, remember what caused the dinosaurs to go extinct. I mean, you had a meteor hit and you had literally a nuclear winter for decades that destroyed all plant life on the earth. Now, I mean, if we get hit by a meteor, it's going to destroy everything. But a volcano is going to be, multiple catastrophic ones are going to be on a lesser scale than that, but the same basic premise. RLRL, I have always had an end of summer burn pile. What is the cheapest way to burn it? I used to use kerosene, but that's way too expensive. Now gasoline is cheaper, but a dangerous way to do so. I don't use, I mean, if anything, I'm using for some fuel to get started, it's, cotton balls or dryer lint in a toilet paper tube, that's just kind of saturated with a little bit of Vaseline. I mean, if you're just building a fire, just bigger. I mean, if you're throwing, monster trees and stuff, sure, you're going to have to build a fire underneath it, but start with the small fire, get your smaller fire going, and then as you're hauling in the bigger stuff, throw it on top. I mean, now if you've been building this pile with dead logs and stuff all year, I understand you've already got it, but I'm not a fan of using gasoline or kerosene or anything like that, because then you're putting that in the soil that's over there too. And the thing about a burn pile that's so good is you can use all that wood ash in the garden. Maybe not all at once, but wood ash is a great high carbon fertilizer that you can use. Spread. I mean, just the only place you really think you don't want to spread it on is your potatoes. But I mean, anywhere else, it's a great source of phosphorus to add to your soil. So, anything you can use that's not gasoline and kerosene would be better. You throw a boatload of cardboard in there would be good. So, East Tennessee Mike, thank you for the super chat. Hi, Pinball. I'm finding it harder to prep food now that I'm a healthier eater. Yeah, no kidding. All the crap food is what's cheap. I don't eat much canned food besides protein. Should I stick to freeze-dried money in bulk 5-gallon Mylar storage? I'm not a fan of freeze-dried food at all, at least the stuff that you can, because I think I did a video on it one time. I had one of the freeze-dried food companies come and say, oh, gee, talk about our product on the channel. And I had a conversation with them. I said, do you realize, what they consider a portion, is ridiculous. But, I mean, I figured out you were spending it was like spending $20 a day, or I think it was either $20 a day or $40 a day per person to feed them 3 meals in a day. I'm like, that's insane. So when you're doing what Mike's talking about here, dehydrate it yourself. I mean, I'm not saying go out and buy a freeze dryer, okay? But I really don't care about having food that's going to last me 25 years, all right? You'd hope that the world would have gotten back to normal within 25 years. If you're canning your own food and you're dehydrating your own food and you're rotating your own food, I'm still eating stuff I grew in 2022. That's fine. The stuff I'm growing in 2024, that goes on the back of the shelf. I'll eat that probably in 2026. It's got to last a couple of years. It doesn't have to last 25. I personally, and y'all can disagree with me on this, But I personally find the freeze-dried food companies the probably biggest ripoff there is out there, at least in the prepping community. So, but 5-gallon Mylar storage for dried goods, if you're buying rice, buying sugar, buying flour, whatever it is, yeah. Just remember that that stuff's not going to last you forever either. So if you find a good deal on sugar or something like that, sure, go out and buy 100 pounds of it, put it in Mylar bags, and then next year when you need sugar again, open up the one you just bought now and buy whatever you got, or store whatever you buy next year. That's it. If you rotate your healthy food, you're not going to worry about needing freeze-dried food. Yes, just Coke Zero. Hang on, I saw something else coming. I want to acknowledge that. I can find it. There it was. Chris Hill, thank you for the super chat. Can't comment more than 50 characters being censored. That might be just on the YouTube thing. I don't know. I don't have any control over that. But if you have a comment that's going to be this long, I guarantee you I ain't reading it. So that's just not going to happen. Come on, let's get this. Stop with the pop-ups. No, I don't want to. Thank you. It's like, add as moderator. No, I'm just trying to clear that screen out so I can go back and read what's in here. All right. I got to find where I am again. Carrie S. Mr. P, are we looking at civil unrest regardless of who wins the election? My thoughts. Yeah, I've said this multiple times. I don't think it matters. I think no matter what happens, we're going to have problems. If Trump wins, you're going to have cities on fire. Okay. I mean, and this isn't me hyperbola or anything like that. I mean, we know what the leftists do. They burn cities down. Okay. They're going to go out and try to burn, loot, murder, rape, pillage, whatever they can. I mean, they'll just be crazy. I mean, that one meme of that one woman like this all the time, screaming. I mean, that's what they're going to do. They're going to lose their collective minds. Okay. Now, if Kamala Harris was anointed the winner, because there ain't no way she's winning the election, okay, then you get the other side, which is going to go nuts. Not as violent, I don't think, but I think they've gotten to the point where it's going to be more violent. There's going to be more. It's going to make January 6th look like a picnic in the park. Yeah. The night of November 5th and the night of November 6th, depending on when we get the results, I'm probably going to make sure I'm staying home that day. Like, Ma and Pa Kettle sitting on the porch with a rifle in my lap. I don't think I'm going to have too many problems out here, but if you live in purple areas, yeah, it might be a good time to go visit grandma. Then again, you may come home and your house is burned down too. Tony DG, been foraging a few times. There are some great plants for healing and pain. Yeah, I mean, and like I've done videos on that too. Go through your yard and see what you find. Like I've said, the echinacea, the plantain, dandelions, whatever it is. But get out and see what you can find that's food out there too. Because, where everybody comes up, it's like, oh, I'm just going to go hunt Bambi. Yeah, you and 350 million other people had that same idea. The deer aren't going to be around that long, okay? And whether you talk about squirrels or rabbits or whatever, the forests are going to be hunted out real quick. You live in a city, you ain't getting anything, okay? Unless you like eating rats in New York City, the old Demolition Man, rat burger. But there's going to be your option. So, polish up on your rat recipes if you live in New York. But yeah, I mean, get out. And I mean, if anything, now is the time, like I just said, these berries and stuff like that. Now is the time when a lot of stuff is ripening. It's coming to maturity. Acorns, walnuts, you go out and pick those now. I mean, go out in the forest and find, beat the squirrels to the acorns, find oak trees, take them home, roast them, store them. You got nuts. You guys know me. I mean, in a month or so, I will have my chestnuts coming down, and a little more to processing chestnuts, but at least I can process them, and I'll have something in the way of a good fat source, a healthy source of fats out of nuts that in a pinch I can use. I mean, do I keep a bunch of them? No, because right now I don't need it. But I know these trees produce like crazy. Trust me, I got to sweep up all the husks, or rake them up. But yeah, I mean, if I've got some just in case, it's a food source. At least, even if you don't go out and pick it, go out and learn about it. Go out and identify it. Go, okay, I know that there's Japanese silverberries over here. I know there's acorns off of oak trees over here. I know there's chestnuts that I can get over here. At least already know where they are. So you're not trying to, because it's going to be a lot easier to identify stuff now when you can use a freaking app on your phone than when things get completely nuts and, if we don't have electricity or don't have phone or internet or whatever. Joe Shinpaw, Mr. P, wasn't Jack Smith to be approved by Congress to go after Trump? I just saw the headlines on this before. That's why the last stuff got thrown out, because he wasn't, was it the Supreme Court, I think it was, decided that he wasn't appointed legally as a special counsel. So I don't know how he's doing this. If it's under the same thing, then, the case will get tossed. But, it's just, the case is going nowhere. I mean, we're 2 months from the election. I mean, Trump will be elected before this ever goes anywhere. And, it's like, oh, okay, here's your case. Well, that's an eraser, and that's an eraser. It's like, no. But, and honestly, Trump can only serve one term. So you think he gives a rat's ass if he pardons himself on day one? What are you going to do? Unelect him? That ain't going to happen. And depending on, which I also assume is that both houses of Congress will go in Republican control as well. The Democrats will whine and cry for 4 years and claim Russia or, all the other lies that they tell all the time. And if we get a Speaker of the House and a Senate Majority Leader who actually has a pair, they're just going to look at Chuck Schumer or look at Hakeem Jeffries and go, stick a sock in it, asshole. Shut up for 4 years, because we don't even care what you say. That's it. Just be quiet, sit there, collect your paycheck, because your thoughts mean absolutely nothing to Congress. Breed, Japanese silverberries, also known as autumn olive. Yes, they are. I looked those up. I planted tons of these while in 4-H prior to 1984. Okay, yeah. I mean, when I did the research on it real quick, they're a Japanese. They're originally a species native to Asia that was brought here, that grows well in poor soil, that was planted to avoid for erosion control. Makes sense. I'm on a monstrous man-made lake, and my guess is TVA planted these things 80 years ago. And, they've grown into very large, mature trees at this point, mature bushes, but for erosion control, because that's exactly where we found it. It's on a path right there at the lake. So, Janet Nunn, anyone know of a good supplier of dried elderberry? I do not. The elderberry I've got, what we get, we dry ourselves. Not that, like I said, one of our trees died. But the other one, I get a decent amount of berries, or I will here in a month or so, and dry them out, and that's all we do. I mean, it doesn't give us much. I mean, you get maybe a pint jar of elderberries. That's about all I get off of the one tree I've got left. Joe Kuznarek, why is it that Elizabeth Warren has the Indian headdress on? I think if you've seen a picture like that lately, it's probably a meme somewhere, AI or something like that. But that's it. Mima Prepper, my celery plants have been doing great. Now the stalks are hollow. Zone 9A. Any idea what would cause this? The stalks are hollow. No, I don't have any idea what would, I mean, you gotta remember when when you take celery apart, it's like a whole bunch of strings that you're pulling apart anyway. I don't know what would cause that at all. No idea. Just another tool. Oh, here's one that we haven't answered in a long time. What made me decide to do YouTube? It was two things, and this was 4+ years ago, when I made my first videos. Because obviously I was watching the prepper videos, and I got sick of the sales pitches. You have to do this, buy this, or you're gonna die. It's like I got sick of hearing that. Okay. And the other ones were all just complete gloom and doom. I mean, that's all they were doing. And the ones that come up and have the world's going to end next week. I mean, this was, it was too much fear porn. There was nothing in dealing in reality, and there was too many sales pitches on there. And I'm like, there needs to be a channel where people can talk, where people can share ideas of common sense prepping ideas, and somewhere where people can go to get the knowledge that they need about different things that are going on so they can prep accordingly. Because I saw too many channels were trying to say, you need to buy this. And none of it took into account whether they lived in Tucson, Arizona, or International Falls, Minnesota, and go, oh, those people need the exact same thing. No, okay? I don't think you need a snow shovel or a snow blower in Tucson, Arizona. I'm just using that as an example. We all are in different areas. And you guys have heard me say this 1,000 times. There is no one size fits all to prepping. But every one of our properties is different. Our lifestyles is different. Our families are different. Our houses are different, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I always thought it was like, okay, here's an idea. Take my idea, adapt it for something that might work for you, if it matters at all to you. It kind of like the fall planting schedule we had, or question we had at the top of the show. When am I going to do my fall planting? Well, for me, for where I am, Zone 6B, Zone 7A, yeah, around now, 2 weeks from now is when it's a good time to get it all in. It ain't the same time if you live in Caribou, Maine, and my whole point to doing this always was to get people to think, to get the truth out there, to get some knowledge out there so people could make logical decisions for their own situations. So, a long answer to a short question. Dash Micro Homestead. Tomatoes are still green in Zone 6B. That's surprising. Should I keep on the vine or pick and bring indoors? If they haven't even started turning red, they're not. If they're completely green on the vine, they're never going to turn red. Once they start to turn red, then they've started ripening. Then you can bring them in. If they're completely green, leave them on the vine. JB Preps, any advice for controlling flea beetles? Okay, well, we talked about the eliminator in the yard at the top of the show. Somebody was asking, that would be the best thing. And I mean, otherwise, if you're talking about in your soils, Uh, if before, I mean, and you've heard me say this too, if before you use any sort of potted soils, bagged soils, anything like that, before you ever use it, you need to hydrate it with boiling water to kill out any of the eggs that are going to be in there for any of the insects, because they're in all of them. I don't care if it's peat moss, potting soil, planting mix, whatever. You should hydrate that with boiling water. Of course, obviously, let it cool before you put your plants in. You can't put boiling water over a plant; you'll kill the plant. Okay. But once you've got the plants in it, I mean, I don't have an answer for it other than chemicals at that point. As much as everybody says, "Oh, organic, organic, organic," as close as you can come to it, but I don't have a solution. Say, gee, mix I don't know, Epsom salts and Cheerios and spread it on your lawn, and that'll do it. I don't know anything like that. Kevin Little, Central New York, got my fall plants in, pickle and cukes, which that's what I've had the best luck in the way of cucumber family to grow, and broccoli and cabbage, hoping the worms will leave them all alone this year. Get yourself some, it's called Dr. Earth Golden Bloom. Oh, wait a minute, no, I'm sorry. Nope, that's the fertilizer, if you want to use that. No, there's a, and I've put the link up before. If you go on to Amazon and do a search just for caterpillar killer, okay, you'll see a green bottle. It used to be made by Bayer. I don't know, is that Monsanto now or whoever it was. But that's a good for killing cabbage moths and everything. Just mix it with water in a spray bottle or whatever to spray the cabbage plants, and you won't have any problems with the worms. Susan Musser, FDA issued an emergency use authorization for the new C19 arm ticket, not tested on humans or animals. Yeah, I saw stories on today that was at a couple of schools, and I think it was Alabama and Ohio, and maybe it was in Kentucky. School just started, we got to shut down the schools because it's, and of course, it's just like what we had a few years ago. Suddenly, nobody got a cold. The flu disappeared. Okay. Nobody got seasonal flu. Everybody had COVID. They're going to do it again. You get a whole bunch of kids together, school started, and one had a cold, and the cold went around. Well, we don't call it the common cold anymore. That's not scary enough. We need to make people panic. So we got to close the school because the flu's going around. Keep your kids home from school. Let the rest of the kids learn. Healthy disrespect. The cabbage seeds last a while. I found a couple of my partial packages in my stash from 2021. I'm still growing seeds from 2021 or 2022, and every single one of them germinated. So no problem whatsoever. Some plants aren't good. Cabbage, you guys remember when we built the indoor greenhouse, the garage greenhouse under my workbench? And I made it as difficult as possible and tried to grow cabbage with old seeds in reconcentrated potting soil starting in January, and they work perfect. So we talked about that. Farm Ranch Homestead. There are a lot of edible foods and herbs that are abundant in our part of Tennessee. I recently found persimmons, black cherries, and crab apples in addition to other common berries and nuts here. Yeah, and you just need to go out and look for it. They're all over the place. What is it? Tequila is made out of agave cactus. I don't know if anybody's ever had cactus jelly. And for those of you guys that live in the Southwest, I know there's one type of cactus where they literally fry it up like it's a pancake. You go to mushrooms. There's all sorts of stuff that is out there. I mean, we have to remember this, guys. And I mean, this will sound silly to some people. God put everything we could possibly need on the planet for our survival. We don't have to make all this chemical crap, the processed foods and stuff. Everything's already here. We just need to get off our butts and go get it, rather than, put a little bit of effort in, rather than, gee, you know what? A box of spaghetti's $1. I'll just boil that up. Okay. Keel over and have a heart attack when you're 50. But, you can find fruits, vegetables, anything that out there. I mean, even if you plant some and do something else, but hey, go take a walk through the woods. I mean, I don't care if you live, I mean, you guys know, I mean, until I was 11 or 12, I lived in Chicago, and we go, the suburbs of, and we go to the county parks or whatever it was, and you could walk through there and pick berries or pick nuts, or it was no big deal because they were all over the place. Now, granted, now it's probably a little different. They probably charge you to do it, but in a lot of the more rural areas, I mean, there's a state park that's, Chuck Swan that's here and here. I mean, that's hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of acres that if I wanted to, I could just go through there and find nuts and find berries and do whatever. There's got to be something that's somewhere. Take the kids out, make a day of it. Just go have fun and learn. Teach the kids something about plant life. Learn something yourself. Like I said, the app is called Picture This. Take it with you. It's like, and that's what this is. Is it edible? Yes. What do you use it for? This. Here's a recipe. Oh, okay. Not hard. Shirley, I've got tons of large green tomatoes. What do you think of making pickles with some of them? I've never tried it. I mean, I had fried green tomatoes a couple of times in my life. It's, again, that's an acquired taste. They're okay. And, you don't put any sort of decent sauce on them. They taste like breadcrumbs to me, squishy breadcrumbs. Susan Lathrop, would I repeat that app, please? Picture This is the app. Picturethis. New York Budget Prepper. My nephew got a free Opus generator. It did not come with a solar panel. He found one on Temu for half the price. It says it's an Opus solar panel. How is this possible? Is it legit? Yes, it is. Okay, because and I've had conversations with Opus about this, and you guys are going to learn more about that here in the coming month in September, but I will tell you. Opus is introducing two whole new product lines, if you will. Now, you guys know the original ones that we've done here in the last couple of years or whatever, the orange and black type generator. They're improving, going to their next. So now they have the Mega series, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm also going to be showing you the Titan series, which is another one that they have. They have different uses for them. But in talking to the folks at Opus, the old inventory from their original products, the stuff that we've been talking about for the last couple of years, they've still got inventory. So all the old inventory is going to be sold on Temu until it's gone. And then they will move forward with the Mega series and the Titan series. So is it possible that it's a solar panel? Yeah, it's like a first gen thing, guys. Okay, that's all it is. It's not like the bad products, just first gen, second gen, third gen, no different. EcoFlow, Delta Pro Ultra, Delta Pro 3. It's just the next generation. They're liquidating, if you will, all their first gen stuff on Temu. And I told them, trust me, when they told me that, I'm like, you guys start selling through Temu. I said, I'm out. I said, we're done. They're like, no. That's not what we're doing. That's just how they're going to get rid of the old inventory. So is it possible? Absolutely. Off-grid living, good piece of info here. Dollar General will have seeds. Buy one, get one free this weekend. If your local one still has seeds, we bought a few packs Sunday evening. Yeah, there you go. I mean, this is the time of year, guys, where you can feasibly see seed packs for 25 cents a piece, 10 for a dollar. I think I told you the story about one of my neighbors up here who came by, a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and had a box, about shoebox size, full of seeds, and just says, here. Okay, he gardens and I garden, everything like that. He's like, yeah. Now he travels back and forth to Illinois. And he said, yeah, he goes, I went up to my Walmart and they knew me up there and they were getting rid of all the seeds. You know how Walmart has, at least the one by me has like 4 huge racks of seeds. And all the ones they don't sell, they got to get rid of. They were just going to throw them out. He's like, can I have them? They gave him them all. Sure, we're just going to pitch them. So he went around everybody around and said, here's a shoebox full of seeds for you and for you and for you and for you. I mean, they're just going to get rid of them. I mean, even if they say 25 cents, say, hey, how about a dime? They might say, fine, it's just get them out of here. So, the seeds will last easily till next year, no problem. Nemesis Prepared. Good question. Can I plant onions in the fall for a spring harvest? Yes, you can. Okay. Onions and garlic can be planted in the fall for a spring harvest. Or garlic should be, okay, for summer harvest, because actually garlic's got about a 9-month time. Yes, you can plant onions in the fall, depending on where you are. Okay. Again, I'm not going to try planting onions in the fall where someplace where you're going to get a bunch of snow. No, because the plant has no way to grow. It's not going to grow through that snow. It can't photosynthesize. It's not going to grow. But if you live in an area, say where I do, where, we get on average 4 inches of snow a year, and I've only seen it once throughout the entire day. Yeah, onions are no problem whatsoever to grow. If I had a ballpark whether or not you can do it, if you grow intermediate day or short day onions, if you're in those sections, short day you can certainly get away with it. Intermediate day, I'd say you could probably get away with it. If you got to grow long day onions because you're up north, I wouldn't try planting them in the fall. Larry, any experience or feedback for All Powers solar panels? Still leaning toward eco-flow panels due to Clark with Wellbots. I've never tested, so I've never done any tests on solar panels. Okay. Like I said, the one I bought, the portable panel I bought was the 12 CVN one because it was $135 or whatever it was. It was a little more than $1 a watt out of that panel when I bought it. And it was a good panel. The way it stood up, it was sturdier than the $400 ones. That's the one I've talked about a lot. The hard panels, the ones I've got are Canadian Solar. That's it. I've seen the ones, at Harbor Freight or whatever it is. They look flimsy to me. The big catch to the panels is not whether or not they're going to get 120 watts or 200 watts or whatever the panel is. It's how well are they going to stand up? So you got to, that's the important part. Look at the support system for it. Because if the support system's weak and all of a sudden the thing flops down with the breeze and you go, crap, how long's it been? I'm not getting any charge. And you go out on the back porch or whatever and see that your solar panel is falling down. That's more of the issue to me. I can't tell you whether All Powers are good, bad, or indifferent. Fat Daddy, love you all. Nice hat. Thank you. Trucker Hershey, yes, Harris picked CNN for her first interview. Yes, I saw this was after I did the lunch video. And she said Dana Bash is going to do the interview. So, if so much for we're going to pick a woman of color because Dana Bash is blonde hair, blue eyes. That wasn't going to do it, but we got the female. Now the question is, which Dana Bash will show up. Will it be the fawning liberal who, will throw softballs at Kamala Harris all day, or will it be the true journalist that, like the one that showed up for the Trump Biden debate? Okay, that is going to be iffy. It depends on how well Dana Bash wants to be taken seriously, because she can. This is for her. It's a make or break interview, because everybody's going to be watching that, and if she comes off as a "I'm going to lick your boots" type interviewer, her credibility is shot. If she comes off as tough, she'll do well, but then Kamala Harris is going to hate her. So we'll see that. But the funniest thing I noticed about that is poor Kamala Harris has to bring her little puppy dog with. Tim Walz is going to be on the stage too, because Kamala Harris couldn't do a debate or couldn't do an interview by herself. And I will bet dollars to donuts that if they time the interview, he talks more than she does, because they're going to do whatever they can to have her introduce the subject and him give the details. I mean, he's a moron too, but they don't want her talking. But they've got themselves between a rock and a hard place, because now even the liberal media is giving them shit for going almost 6 weeks now without an interview. McHale 539, Steve Poplar's video was removed this morning. I don't know what Steve was talking about this morning, so can't be sure. Scott McHugh, how could Harris be a serious leader in the world or the leader of our military without cackling? She's not. I mean, do you honestly? Nobody feared Biden. I mean, we can see what happened. China's got ships around the Philippines, around Taiwan, and everything like that, basically stopping trade. Okay, Russia went into Ukraine. Hamas had no problem going into Israel. I mean, nobody feared Joe Biden at all. They're like, he's a pussy. We're not gonna. They're not going to do anything, and basically hasn't. Okay. And Kamala Harris is weaker. Okay. I mean, for the life of me, I can't imagine her sitting down at the G7 or with the summit with Xi Jinping or Vladimir Putin or the Ayatollahs or something and trying to get something done. Sure, she can have a conversation with Emmanuel Macron or with Justin Trudeau or something like that, and they can, swap stories on how sperm tastes. But taking her serious, nobody in the world is going to take her serious. I mean, the United States right now is a laughingstock in the world. With her, the rest of the world's going to look at this and go, to hell with taking over Israel or Ukraine or Taiwan. Christ, we can go take over the U.S. at this point, because they won't do anything. Stephanie and Chris P., do I still use my lawn clippings after using that pest control? Yeah, no problem. It's pest control. It's not weed control. Okay, there's a difference. And I've got no problem with if there's any sort of residue of the pest control in the garden, because as we talked about before, I want to make sure I get rid of grubs and anything, fire ants that are in my garden as well. Oh, I'm buffering. Let's see how long that lasts. Okay. Oh, they're going to stop it again. I must have said something that the Nazis at YouTube don't like. Val, do I have spotted lanternflies there? If so, have you found anything to deter them? No, they haven't gotten this far south. I mean, last I saw, they were just up around Pennsylvania, that area. They haven't come down here yet. So not looking forward to if they get here. Laura Story, Pinball, I planted bare root June-bearing strawberries about a week ago, covered with shade cloth because it's too hot. They're doing amazing. Several have flowers already. I'm in zone 6. How to put to bed. You don't need to do anything. Just leave them be. Let them grow. Let them over. They'll shrivel up, get mushy, dry out, whatever, depending on the climate. leave them be. Okay. I mean, my strawberry garden, I pick my strawberries. I don't do a damn thing to it. Maybe I'll pull a weed or something like that come fall after everything's died. Okay. Uh, I'll pull a couple of weeds out of there. I don't do anything to it. And then they come back flourishing next year. No problem. Jeff and Houdini, Mount St. Helens thudded my house from 75 miles away when I was 10 years old. Yeah, it was a big one. Ann Palmer, we're having lots of army worms for the first time. Suggestions. That one, never in my life have I had army worms. So I know, I don't know. But take a look at, again, that eliminator that I looked at. Like I said, just go on walmart.com and type in eliminator and you'll see the bag of it. And see if that's one of the 500 or so insects, or well, worms are insects, but see if it's one of the things that it'll kill. That's still the best stuff that I've found to keep down pests. Catherine Y. Is it normal for a peach tree to lose its leaves after dropping its fruit? Okay, the peach tree this year is a sticky subject for me. Yeah, but I noticed with my peach tree that the leaves kind of went limp, but they're not, and dropped some, yes, okay. Some of it may be that the plant is like, okay, we're done for the year and now we're just going to go to rest. Some of it could be we've had a pretty dry summer here too. Ronald Simmons, where in the hell is Biden? Oh, he's now taking a 9-day vacation in Delaware after he finished his 7-day vacation in California. I mean, in the 37 days that Kamala Harris has been the nominee for president since Joe dropped out, Joe has spent 6 in the White House. Okay, just giving you that. He has taken almost a month and a half's vacation and worked a week. Just giving, because like I said this morning, the world is just, everything's just running so perfectly right now. There's no we don't even need anybody to run the government. If that doesn't tell you that Joe hasn't been running the show for the last 3.5 years, I don't know what does. It's like, screw it. He goes, if I'm not a politician anymore, if I'm not running for election, I'm out. Jacqueline Presnell, thank you so much for your tips on growing strawberries. So far, my 5 plants are good and multiplying. Amazing. I grew several from seed. They're about 1 inch tall. When should I plant them? Again, same as I was talking about planting my cabbage. Wait till you have some true leaves on there. The first 2 leaves are your codlin leaves. Okay, don't worry about that. Wait till you've got a set of true leaves on the plant at least. Okay, your next set of leaves. Ruby's Ranch, styrofoam to-go cups are the best fire starters, paper plates. Yeah, okay, but again, you got to remember styrofoam's, again, it's a petroleum product, and you know what styrofoam looks like when it burns up. It's that black goop, looks like a plastic. You don't want to be putting that into your soil either. So, I can't read that spell check. Redbird Acres, I bought my own freeze driver and absolutely love it if you can swing the cost. Well, that's the thing. I mean, a freeze dryer costs you $3,000, $4,000. We've talked about them before here. If you've got, I can see where it makes sense if you've got a large family, 8, 10 people or whatever that you're prepping for, then I can see it makes sense. Or if, your mag, for example, 3 or 4 families all chip in for it. But for me and Mrs. P, because it's the 2 of us here, for it to really make sense to us, it doesn't. So, again, and this, another thing to reiterate, there's none of this, you must buy this or you're going to die. It's got to work for your situation. All right. Inigo Montoya, how would you recommend starting to grow some nuts? They're expensive, but great for a foraging adventure. The best thing you can do is go to your box store, Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever you get stuff, maybe even look online and buy yourself the biggest tree that you can afford, because a nut tree, a nut tree is going to be on average close to 10 years old before you're going to start getting any production. So this is why I say you're probably better off foraging your nuts than you are planting your own nut tree. I mean, like I've got wild oaks in my yard. I've got wild chestnuts in my yard. The trees are easily 100 years old. No problem there. But yeah, I mean, to plant the tree, maybe your kids will benefit from it. And it's first time I look at the clock, it's 9 o'clock. I guess that means it's time to say goodnight. All right. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you in the morning. That went fast. Thank y'all. Pinball out.